Sorry, let's just go.
My plan tonight
Open, right?
is to just shoot questions at you all, and you will experience a little bit of what a test is like.
Baruch Hashem, and also if you can do the 200 or something.
200, no problem. I can do 400 if you want.
No, only the you know. Okay.
Okay. Tell me a little bit about the rules for shehiyah, for leaving on the blech. Let's say you don't have a blech. Tell me how you can do shehiyah if you don't have a blech.
First, full cook.
Full cook?
If you don't have a blech, the food has to be full cook. Shehiyah, study that. Shehiyah is the shehiyah is Rabbi. If shehiyah to put it back in the blech.
Oh, that's chazara.
This chazara. Shehiyah is before Shabbat. Okay. If it's fully cooked, then you allowed to put it on the magavot around that.
Now you're going to hatmana.
Hatmana, right?
I'm asking about shehiyah.
Shehiyah
means to leave on the fire.
Leave on the fire.
What? And
as long
what
as it's Michael Bender soy,
fire without a blech?
Yeah, minimum ben drasoi.
Michael Bender soy.
I'm directing the question now to Yoram. If he doesn't know, we'll open it. First to Yoram. I'm going around the room. Go ahead.
What's the condition to put it on?
To put it on the fire if you don't have a blech.
So before Shabbat, Rabbi?
Before Shabbat.
You have to,
all before
you
Shabbat.
have to remove the gechalim.
I don't have any gechalim in my kitchen. I don't know about you. What? All right. Yossi, you were saying. Go ahead.
So there's a machlekes. If it is uncovered, if the stove is uncovered, then you must put the food must be fully cooked. If it is covered, it can be a minimum.
Uncovered. The question was uncovered.
If it's uncovered, then the way we paskin is it must be fully cooked.
Daniel, what do you say?
Michael Bender soy.
Thank you very much. That is correct. Michael Bender soy is correct. It's enough for it to be as cooked as the bandit Bender soy would eat it, which is how much?
50 or 33.
50 or 33, correct.
Right, we'll go to 50.
Okay, so
That was Hanania.
That was Hanania.
That was Hanania.
That's correct. And what is the stricter opinion? Back to Yoram, what's the stricter opinion?
About the
shehiyah without a blech. If you don't have a blech, what's the stricter opinion?
So you will be 50 cooked and 50 cooked, and then the Chachamim said
yes.
Hanania said you don't need to put it on a block, and Chachamim said yes, you do need to put it on a block.
That is correct. But is there any way that according to the Chachamim you could leave it without a blach? Any way?
With the Mahal Ben Dosai?
You tell me. Any way, according to the Chachamim. This is my question today with Yossi today. If Chachamim said, if they say you have to put it on a block, and the Sai said you don't need it because it's cooked 50. Your Sai has no opinion of the Beit Midrash. He never came to the Beit Midrash. He was busy robbing.
But Hanania, I'm sorry, Hanania.
Yeah.
Hanania said if it's a Machal Ben Dosai, you don't need to put it. My question with Yossi today, why Chachamim said you have to put it on a block if it's 50%
Because they said you might want it to cook faster. There is one case where the Chachamim say you don't need a blech. What is that?
It's cooked.
That's it? Cooked? Pashut? Atome?
It's fully cooked and it will cook to its detriment.
You don't want to remove it.
If it's what? Sorry? Daniel? Daniel, go
If
ahead.
it's fully cooked and it's fully cooked and mistamek viralo.
Thank you very much. If it's fully cooked and mitstamek v'ra'aloi, it's fully cooked and the more it cooks, the worse it tastes.
This is the condition you allowed to put it.
According to the Chachamim. That's the condition, because then you're not gonna
Cook anymore.
make it hotter because you don't want to ruin it. But there's another case. No? Michal, tell me. One other case where the Chachamim agree that you don't need a
Your
blech.
favorite.
What then? This was more of a subjective cooking. No, it is. No.
A case besides Mistamach V'Ra'aloi, where the Chachamim agree that you can leave it on the fire with no blech.
Directly to the fire, Rabbi?
Directly.
Was this the plaster? Was this if you plaster it?
That's a good answer, though. I'll take that answer. But that's not what I had in mind, but it's a good answer.
Oh, we discussed last week, if it's completely cooked, and you don't want to do abzal or you don't need a black anymore.
That's according to Hananya. I was asking according to the Chachamim. Hananya,
I'm going to take a guess, but if you have raw,
but if you want to be strict, the Chachamim say only Mistamach V'Ra'aloi. Yeah, I'm sorry? Go ahead, Daniel.
I was going to take a guess, but I'd say if you had raw meat in there, then it's
Thank you
probably
very much. Raw meat.
all right, because you're showing you're not going to stoke.
If you have raw meat,
For tomorrow.
it is not going to cook by tonight, no matter how you put it. Hard to
But I
find that.
thought raw
In
meat,
theory.
I was thinking raw meat, but I thought raw meat on an actual fire can be a problem unless you have the plaster. That's what I
No.
was thinking.
No, by the din of the Gemara, raw meat is okay because it's going to take so long to cook that there's no
So
point
it's
in
with,
soaking
so
it.
the flat, with like chicken and goat's meat, is that?
No. That's a whole different discussion.
It's three.
Yeah, that's a barbecue. That's a barbecue. I don't mean that. I mean just in a pot, challah pot. Okay, so Ronnie, tell me, b'vakasha, the conditions of Chazorah according to the Alter Rebbe.
So it's the right to, it's have to be, there's a 3 and plus 3. So the first 3, it have to be still hot from the original. You have to return only to a place that you're allowed to return. And the third
What do you
one,
mean by that when you say allowed to return?
Like to kill a goof of tuna.
Has to be covered, good.
Yeah. And the third one, so this. And it have to be
Has to be that last, yeah.
and then the other 3 is
Yeah.
I think it's also only alga becano, not alga kira, a little bit of kira.
Exactly. Did you say fully cooked though?
Yeah,
Several.
these are in the first 3. First 3 is
The first 3 is hot, cooked, and what else?
and להחזיר למקום שני.
Oh, a covered flame. Very good. Very good.
But regarding the 7 one, it says להחזיר only on top of kira,
Not inside, yeah.
not inside.
Yeah.
It is like regardless if it was before Shabbos, during the day, or it's time.
What do you mean?
Because it was a machloket, it's just the extra 3 9. It's only you have to apply them if it was Bod Yom and you have to run the
Yeah, that's the run. That's the run. But we only pass like the run, maybe b'di'evet, shas al-chak, but not l'chatchila. The run says if you take it off on Shabbos, then you don't have to keep the conditions of yada and al-hafzer. Excuse me, you're not switching from one part to the
So
other.
it's not like on top of kira, it's like also on Shabbat, also on before Shabbat.
That has to be a covered flame?
Yeah.
No, that everybody agrees. No, that makes no difference. That machlek is about the Ran and whatever, about before Shabbos and on Shabbos. That's not about that condition. Everybody agrees you need that condition, that the flame has to be covered.
No. To להחזיר על top of the kira, לא בתוך kira.
Yeah?
These apply for Shabbos and before.
Oh, is the Ran makel on that? Is that your
Oh,
question?
the tray.
Is the Ran makel on that? Is that your question?
It's the seven conditions.
That's a machlekes. That's a machlekes. Actually, I'll bring this to machlekes.
What I'm asking about is holding the also.
He brings that the minhag is to be makel, but he's not happy about it. Says that you should, even though the minhag is to be makel, you should be machmer about that condition, not putting it back in. Very good. What if you put it back in? Sorry, you put it back, and by mistake you didn't follow the conditions. You put it back, let's say, uncovered flame. By mistake. Now what? On Shabbos, yeah.
Was completely cooked.
Completely cooked, yeah. Completely cooked. If it wasn't completely cooked, you're in trouble. Ooh, that's a good question.
If it's mistamek betodlo, it means that you have actually enough from the averas that you're doing, so
Yeah.
you will be allowed to.
Yeah.
But if you mistamek beralo, so if you don't have actually enough on it,
Yeah.
so it's going to be muta la'acherim, but not to you.
Exactly. What about your household members?
Also to the ones that you cook also. But
Right.
to other people that wasn't was cooked, what they're going to allow to work on the spot.
That's correct. Very good. Very good. That's a very practical thing, by the way. Very practical. I've had a few questions of that, the maisa, halacha lamaisa, where people come to me with forbidden chazaras, what to do.
The people that you cook for could be guests, right? Because you said household members.
They are included in the household members. If they're your expected guests, then they can't eat it.
What if you have somebody that just kind of walks in?
Somebody
They're
walks
not
in, is
expected,
perfect.
they can have it.
That's perfect,
That's
exactly.
perfect.
You go to
It
shul
happens.
and you invite all the
Synagogue.
random people
Right,
hanging
it
around.
happens.
Enjoy. Everybody else will get cold food and these guys.
Well, I have
Yes.
I have a question about for this is like an oven question. We know that you cannot put back into the oven after you take it out.
Yes.
But you know the oven is still hot. Is it okay to just leave the door open and put it on the door next to the oven? Isn't that kind of like being next to a fireplace? So could you do that?
Excuse me. That's actually discussed in Alter Rebbe. You're talking about an oven that is open door. You want to put it next to the oven. Can you do
Next to the open door.
next to the open door? Can you do chazorah next to the oven?
If with all the condition, you can. But
I mean, you can do it next to a fireplace, but is the oven the same?
You can do it next to a fireplace as long as it's a little bit further away to remind you not to stoke the fireplace. You can't do it mamish next to it. How would an oven door be different? I don't think it's different. I'm pretty sure the Alter Rebbe discusses that smicha. I don't know if it's more. I think it's more, but the Alter Rebbe does discuss that you could do chazorah with smicha. Smicha meaning to say close, to put it close. I'm pretty sure Alter Rebbe discusses that maybe sifchaf or something. Pretty sure. Yeah. Close to it, not in it. Karov. It's,
what do you mean close? If you close it inside.
no, you don't close it.
You don't. So you don't look like I said for first time. You don't.
Yeah,
Close.
don't close it.
The parent says that it's not bad. That says that it's also unless it's going to be on top of flame, the one that we're sitting on.
Right.
But say, but I'm not like a
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Correct. Yeah. Reb Shmuel Leib, should I ask you or should I let you watch? Hey, Tan, should I ask you? Okay. Okay. So What are the rules about doing hatmana when it comes to something that does not add heat? Insulating in something that does not add heat, only keeps the heat. What are the rules? What are the restrictions? When are you not allowed?
We're talking about.
How about if it does add heat? Insulating in a item that does add heat.
Rabbi.
I'll come back to you
Are we talking?
if you want.
Are we talking about
Yes.
the smicha with chashmal? Is this?
No. I'm
hatmana.
talking about smicha with a blanket. I'm talking about smicha lesmoch, latet etzel, karov. I'm not talking about an electric blanket. Although the poskim do discuss an electric blanket, by the way. An electric blanket is an example of a hatmana, of an insulation in a thing that adds heat.
Yes. Yeah. So you want something that doesn't give heat?
I was asking about both, but let me give
About the give and clothing.
Yeah, one at a time. Let me give a chance to Yossi. Yossi, go ahead. Tell me about hatmana, over that is not Moisef Hevel. Give me some guidelines here.
Before Shabbos comes in, I can I can do this, but once Shabbos comes in, I can't. The reason for that is because if I care enough about it to further insulate it on Shabbos, then I might be interested in actually stoking the coals, etc.
Correct.
If
Could
it's something,
add to an insulation that's already started, you have one layer of a blanket, can you put another layer or something like that?
I'm not sure. I don't think so, because it would follow that it's the same logic.
No, you can. Once it's already been insulated, so you're allowed to add to it.
If it's fully cooked, Rabbi, then you're allowed to have, or it doesn't matter.
Ooh, if it's fully cooked or not. That's an interesting question. We're not going to pass that up so easily. We're going to take that question. We're going to pass it on to Yossi. If you have a item that is not fully cooked and it's insulated, can you add to the insulation? So I just said in general, you're allowed to add to insulation, right? You're allowed, that's what it says. But are you allowed to add to an insulation of an item that is not fully cooked? It's already edible. Otherwise, there's no point in insulating it. I mean, the thing is just what are you going to do with it? It's already edible, but it's not fully cooked.
You said that the planet
Not on the fire, absolutely not.
okay.
Ain't a moisef hevel. Not adding heat, it's just insulating.
It's not going to add heat to the
That's what I'm asking. That's exactly what I'm asking.
Yes, no. It's
I don't see what the difference is, actually. Even if, yes, you can.
It's actually machlokes achronim.
I think.
As says you cannot.
Shema,
I'm pretty sure the Alter Rebbe agrees with the Taz.
Right, Rabbi? Shema Yisachak
No,
it's not this one?
Please, shum kesher. I'm pretty sure the Taz holds. You know what? It could be I'm getting mixed up, and the Taz holds exactly the opposite. But the Taz is definitely one of the players in this conversation. And it's a machlokes if you can.
What was the question again?
The question was, can you add insulation, which in general is allowed on Shabbos, to a item that is not fully cooked?
In other words, but it's fully cooked in terms of Ben Versailles. It's edible.
Actually,
Absolutely edible. Otherwise, you're wasting time insulating it.
but you're not enjoying actually from, the food doesn't gain anything on your money.
Ze machloket. That's exactly the machlokes. Can food cook from its?
You said it's.
Yes.
That's the question. Can food continue to cook from its own heat?
The only thing that physically happens is just getting cold.
That's the question.
And by
While it's getting cold,
Yeah,
while it's getting cold,
hatmana is
does
keeping
it continue to cook?
But
And if you're insulating its own heat in, maybe it allows it to continue to cook for longer.
but it's the whole point of permissible status quo, so it doesn't shift in any direction up or down.
That's what you're trying to do. That's what you're trying to do. The question is, does that actually cook it or not?
So according to what I see here is that you may not.
Yeah, the Alter Rebbe says that it's forbidden. 257.8.
Yep.
Hushin is bashlak there called circle. Them enu mevshals called circle. Vitmuna gabe akira ader shizbar. Also, afilu lo yisu ala kisu. Chirsev su gurem lamar bishul b'gechale megechale.
Yep.
One second. Oh, I didn't realize this. Okay. I take it back. Look in 254.4. 254.4 is the source for this. In 257.8, he's talking about if it adds heat. But in 254.4, he's talking about even if it does not add heat, even just by insulating. 254.4, that's what you want. All right, question.
It has to be fully cooked, correct?
Exactly. To add to the hatmana, it has to be fully cooked. 254.4. Okay. No, תמשיך. Yeah.
ממש לפי מנהגי ישראל, שכל שנספק למחר במסעים מותר להשחטה בקורות שמקבלים האם דלם קוראים אצלי שנספק למחר במסעים. בכל מקום, בשמת עצמה אסור לה נכנעת בכל מקום שיוכל להתחמם עד שאת צולדת בו, ואפילו שמחה מצל התנור קודם שעושה כתנור אסור. עליהם כן יצלו כל צרכן בעוד יום, והצלחה לפני כפרת מים.
אפילו אם הטמינה מבו יום. איזה כדרס חם, מחוץ לבגלל ושאר שאינם מויסבבל, ובשבס נפל הכיסי, אז להחזיר אלינו מדען הסבש כל צורקון, יצא לרשם. לכן, also להויסו בגד אחר בשבס, נשמר לגמור בשלום שבס. So even something that's not adding heat, just to maintain the heat is considered as able to cook.
Over here, it's putting next to Dera at Dera.
Yeah.
So the idea is not about survival, or it's just me. I didn't was nothing to it. It just was something next to it. So we put it together, carving to the Akdera and this dish together.
Yeah.
To create the heat.
Yeah. It's actually, you're right. It's actually not talking about the kedera itself. It's talking about something you're putting next to the kedera. It's not 100% clear. Not 100% clear, but it seems to apply also to the kedera itself.
But I know that the hatmana is more strict about it. Shehiyah or Zara in most cases.
Lama? Lama?
How we make it like more.
No, hatmana b'davar hamoisif. Hatmana b'davar hamoisif hevel is more strict.
Yeah.
If it's not moisif, it's not more strict. Because you can do it as long as you do it before
Most
Shabbos.
you don't get it so much.
Just saying.
You don't have any so much enough.
I'm just saying the moisif is the strict one. Speaking of which, Daniel, tell us about hatmana b'davar hamoisif hevel. What are the issues?
Let's see, the davar, something which will add heat.
Exactly.
I guess it's kind of I'm just guessing it's you'll come to stoke coals because of it, because you think it's still, it's adding heat is okay.
Exactly, but what if there are no coals? What if it's like in manure or wet wool that's still wet from the sheep, freshly shorn? There are no coals in sight. You want to keep those coals far away from wool. So what are you going to say there?
Well,
If it's wet, if it's lach machmas atzmai, it's wet wool from the sheep. Get Lach machmas.
Would you come to try and heat it? You know, maybe bring more heat or something like that.
Actually, the problem is that if you could do it in this moisiv hevel, you might end up doing it in coals, and then you might end up stoking those coals. Let me ask something else.
In other words, you might come to bring some more moseif hevel.
Not in this particular case necessarily,
Hello?
but you might in general come to do it in coals, which is the main moisiv hevel style that they used to have in those days, and then you might stoke those coals. Let me ask you something else. What if you are doing hatmana for Shabbos day? So maybe is there any room for leniency since you don't really need it for Friday night anyway? I don't need it till Shabbos day. Does that make it any better? Does that make it worse, or makes no difference?
I'm sorry, what was the question again?
If you're doing hatmana for Shabbos day, not for Shabbos night, not for Friday night, and it's in the davar hamoisif hevel, does that make things better, worse, or the same?
I think it's all the same. I don't think you can do it.
You are absolutely right halachically. That's the main halach. But there is an opinion that says that the rules of shehiyah and even hatmana are all said about Friday night. Because Friday night is when it's an issue that you might stoke the coals and keep it hot or whatever. Shabbos day is like, forget about it. It's like you give up. You put it there and whatever happens, happens. It's like, you don't really think it's still going to be hot. So therefore there is an opinion that says that you don't have these rules for Shabbos day.
Meaning what though?
And he said you could do hatmana even with a Ramois Hevel if you don't plan on eating it until Shabbos day.
But then you have the same issues that you do with shehiyah, if you forgot, that you want to.
No, the whole point is that they say the same things about shehiyah. Shehiyah is only a problem if it's for Friday night. When you
Right, but that's the whole point of shehiyah, to avoid stoking the coals, and that's all.
Yeah, but they say
Friday night.
that's only about Friday night. Shabbos day, stoking the coals isn't going to help you.
Doesn't matter.
So that's what I'm saying. It's not going to help you. Now, we don't pass on this opinion. We say you cannot do shehiyah for Shabbos day either, without a blech, unless it's
Because you may
change your mind and use it.
Exactly.
Exactly.
So why wouldn't it be the same thing with hatmana? Or why would it even make a difference if we're just trying?
I'm just saying there is an opinion that says that you can be lenient if you're planning to eat for Shabbos lunch. And as a result of that opinion, there says you could be mekel b'di eved as long as it's for Shabbos lunch, even if you did a forbidden hatmana. Exactly. As long as you're not ragel lasses came, as long as you don't do it on a regular basis. Because it's only a minority opinion, we're not going to let you rely on it every week. But if you did it here, there,
so is it a b'di eved?
It is a b'di eved. Only a b'di eved. Only a b'di eved. Yeah. All right. Let's talk a little bit about Bishul. Mukhan? Tell me about a person who cooks on Shabbos b'mezid. Chas v'shalom, asav hera. What to do with that food?
אסור לו ואסור לו אחרי שבת.
אסור לו
אסור אחרי גם שבת.
נכון. ולאחרים?
האחרים, אסור להם שבת, אחרי שבת, מותר להם. יש חילוקים עם זמן של לעשות אותו, ששם.
מה החילוקים?
אני חושב שזה ישר.
ישר, נכון. מתי כן אומרים שצריכים לחכות?
בשוגג.
לא.
בשוגג?
בשהייה, אם עשו שהייה אסורה, או באמירה לנוכרי. שתי אלו אנחנו יותר מחמירים, כי דברים אלו חושבים שזה פחות חמור, אז יותר מחמירים. For him, yeah. For him, the power will be also correct. Are you guys following? The Hebrew is okay for you guys?
Explain it again.
I will say it in English.
I'll
You
explain
may
it
see
again.
it, so you can't.
If it was done, if it was the cooking was on purpose, the person himself cannot benefit from it forever. The pot also has to be kosher for him. Other people can benefit from it immediately. That's correct.
Also, by the way,
Oh, after Shabbos immediately.
After Shabbos,
After
yeah,
Shabbos.
yeah.
After Shabbos.
Other people.
someone is allowed to use the pan.
Yeah, after Shabbos.
But if we say there's דבר אסור ברור,
For the person who it's us, it's us.
This doesn't
For the
extend
person
to
who's
his
mutter, it's
family.
mutter.
This doesn't extend to his
Like
family.
truma. You have a truma pot.
Yeah.
It's mutter for Kayanim. It's also for Yisraelim.
This doesn't extend to his family.
No.
So this
No.
is different than the
It's
situation.
different than the situation
with shehiyah. Yeah,
with
Chazar.
Forbidden Chazar and Stam Rally. That's correct. That's correct. Because over there, it's more about. It's not about the item being
And
also
it
per
was
se.
Mishogeg also.
Yeah, over there, it's not about that per se. It's about him benefiting from his isser. But over here, it's the item itself like becomes a forbidden item. So yeah, okay. What about b'shogeg? If you did it by mistake,
שוגג, אז אסור לו, מותר לו אחרי שבת.
נכון. ולאחרים,
לאחרים.
ולאחרים,
לאחרים. אם אין מה לאכול, גם אסור להם עד אחרי שבת.
עד אחרי שבת. אין לה מה לאכול. לא שמעתי. לא שמעתי.
What's the only shehiyah?
Exactly. We did learn about if you don't have what to eat.
כן.
That if you did a forbidden shehiyah,
בשוגג.
we're going to allow you to eat if you have nothing else to eat.
Yes.
Either bread or if you have nothing else, even other foods. But we didn't say it about this. Maybe, yeah. Maybe, yeah. Lo shama- I mean,
We did not.
he said if you have nothing else to eat, you can eat what was cooked with shoygig. But I don't know if that's true. I don't know. Maybe.
That was for challah, right?
That was
Not for
before
anything.
you did a forbidden shehiyah, correct.
Yeah.
אסור לו ומותר לו אחרי שבת, ולהם גם כן אסור, מותר אחרי שבת. נעזוב את זה ככה.
Wait, that was confusing.
If he did בשוגג,
Yeah,
so אסור, he doesn't allow to have that on Shabbat,
yeah.
and he is okay for him after Shabbat to have that. And for other people, the same thing, they cannot have it on Shabbat, and after Shabbat they can have it.
basically זה כמו מגע גזרה, זה מביא שויגר גם בלי רק במזיד. שמה יהיה מזיד, אני כדאי בשויגר.
And the only difference is
Exactly.
that with mazid you can never touch it, and
Exactly.
you can
Exactly. Exactly. Michal, what about if it was an isser?
Please.
Oh, man.
Okay.
What if it was done?
Your hand.
No, not for you. What if it was done? What if it was an isser d'Rabbanan? What if it was an isser d'Rabbanan? He did an isser d'Rabbanan. Nagid b'shoigig. B'shoigig. So isser d'Rabbanan. Is it same rules or maybe it's different?
I think we're the same.
No.
No, I know. I'm just doing more math. He couldn't participate. He couldn't. B'shogeg d'Rabbanan.
B'shoigig d'Rabbanan, yes.
Still don't think he can participate.
No. B'shogig d'Rabbanan, both he and others can benefit on Shabbos itself.
But he can eat from it.
As example, what's going to be the bishul?
Bishul, you tell me. You tell me, what's an example of Bishul d'Rabbanan?
He has
No.
food already almost cooked,
Yes.
and he is open and closed.
No, D'Oraisa.
The right, okay.
D'Oraisa.
So not open and closed. He
Bishul d'Rabbanan, no, the floor is open, anybody. An example of Bishul d'Rabbanan.
Cooking in the sun?
No, that's mutter, that's heter gomer, but you're close.
Secondary.
Secondary.
Uh,
That could be D'Oraisa, maybe Machlok, I mean,
liquid rabbi.
no.
The secondary source off the
Thank
sun.
you. Secondary heat of the sun.
Like a
Told
solar.
us Chama.
Oh, sorry, that's what I meant. I didn't mean directly.
I didn't say only. There's other examples. Who?
Cooking not on the fire.
For example?
I have a hot pot and I take it off the fire.
No, that's Tulda Seor. That's Tulda Seor.
Eggs?
That's Doiraisa.
Dagim.
So that's,
Cooking in a klisheni.
That could be Doiraisa if it's Kali Abishol. It could be, but maybe not. I mean, it depends. But I was going to say pickling. Pickling, salting, all of those things which are not cooking the Doiraisa.
But pickling as the definition of bishul.
Yeah.
yeah, because it heats.
Pickling has definition bishul. Salting is a machlekes if it's bishul or ibud. But pickling is bishul.
For me, when you say bishul, it's like actually cooking,
Fire.
not the pickling or something.
Okay, Derabanan.
That's why we hear
Derabanan. I'm talking about Derabanan.
Is this the same for all non-cooking with heat things that you do with food?
That I can think of. I'm sorry, one more time, Yossi?
Is this the same for all things, including things that aren't actually cooking, like making cheese?
Making cheese is actually an Issa Doiraisa.
Oh.
But it's not about cooking.
It's about boina.
Boina, exactly.
So that's deraisa boina.
But I thought
That is Doiraisa. I mean, it's a Tulda because it's only cheese. It's not a building. But it is Doiraisa, yeah. I'm sorry,
I thought that pickling came under ma'abi, like the tanning or thing or something like that. I didn't.
I don't think we came across tanning for pickling. We did for salting.
Salting.
Pickle.
Maybe that.
I don't believe we mentioned it for pickling. I don't believe so. Okay. One more question, Michal. Tell me about a person who shechted an animal for a sick person. And can other people eat from that meat on Shabbos? It was
If there was leftover meat and it was raw.
Okay, how do you eat raw meat? How does that work?
Some people eat raw meat, obviously. No, if it was shechted specifically for the chola,
Yeah.
it was leftover.
Yeah.
That leftover meat, the raw.
What about the blood?
If the blood would have been taken out for the chola, if it was cooked for the chola.
That's an interesting shayla. That's an interesting.
That's what I was thinking. It was exactly the cholas.
We didn't address that shayla, but that's an interesting shayla because if it was cooked for the chola,
Then you don't have to be prepared.
then what's the halacha? Can you have the leftover stuff that was actually cooked for him?
No.
No, because you may add. But what if it was salted for him? Now, salted could be his cooking,
Yeah.
could be his ma'abed, but it's only Rabbanan. Do we say you can't eat from it or not? That I don't know. We didn't discuss that. What we did say.
Why you being allowed to?
Do you have to salt raw meat?
You're not sick and you're enjoying from melachos, it's not a do. You did it, and generally for you, it's not going to be.
Let me answer that question in a minute.
But
But
it's-
first, Yossi is pointing out that you actually don't have to salt raw meat. That's the answer I was looking for. Halachically, you don't have to salt raw meat. You can just wash the blood off and you can dig in. Blood is dripping down. Like with vampires.
I was thinking a little bit different. This is what I was thinking. I was thinking the piece was prepared for the chola in order to cook it. All right? Here's the raw piece. It was prepared.
I heard what you're
only
thinking.
a certain amount was cooked for it.
I heard
and the
what you're
rest was left
thinking.
out.
I
That's
heard
what
what
I
you're
always thought
thinking,
with this
but
raw
Yossi is pointing out
No, I
correctly that you don't actually have to salt it. Ronnie is asking, what's the hava amina to say you can benefit from it if malacha was done? So definitely, if a malacha deraisa was done, you cannot benefit. That's what it says because he may add to it. It's what?
Shchita.
No, but shchita you can add to shchita. That's the difference. Shchita you can add to shchita. One shchita is the whole animal, but bishul you can add. So if you could have from the bishul, you may add. Shchita you're not going to add to it.
How come it's not muktzah if it was muktzah before?
That was going to be the next question. But one
How
second.
people can enjoy the raw meat from the leftover from the shchita?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely, yes. The question is about this melicha, where it is something that could be added to, but it's only Isser Rabbanan. Do we say this gzeira that you may add by an Isser Rabbanan? I don't know.
Can they salt it while they're biting it? While they're eating it?
I'm sorry?
For the taste, they have to put salt and eat it? Not for the sake of salting?
Yeah, as long as they eat it right away. Yeah, why not?
But wasn't the idea over there that, going back to the enjoyment, there was absolutely zero intention that anybody beyond the chola was going to eat that specific amount. It just so happened.
You could say the same thing about cooking.
Shema.
You could say the same thing about cooking. There's no intention that anybody should have any extra, but it so happens it's left over. Still can't have it, because maybe next time you'll add.
Shema.
Why Yossi's asking why the animal is not muktzah. Ronnie, maybe you can help us out here.
So,
Because
Because
we don't have the writer for that. We don't have a Rabbanan.
Situation.
Rabbanan did not chmir on that.
They're going to wait their muktzah.
I'm not talking about the pchoila. I'm talking about the other guy. He wants to dig into the raw meat.
I'm talking the animal.
Oh, the animal itself that was used.
Animal is shechted.
Yeah.
Why is it not muktzah? But when Shabbos came in, it was a live, breathing being.
Oh, everything was done beheter.
The status changed.
It's something that you can see, yes, that you want examples, it's something that looks like
Only-
on Shabbos.
I think it's like the
Why don't we say?
It's like
Why
the
don't we
lamp
say?
post, no?
Only
Why don't we say? Why don't we say? He wasn't thinking the shechted. So that should make it muktzah or not muktzah? On the contrary, so that should make it muktzah. If you have something that is muktzah and you were not planning to shecht it, which is when it's not muktzah, you understand? A live animal is muktzah. A shechted animal is not muktzah. So if you were not planning to shecht it, that's worse, because now it's not planning to become not muktzah. You
So
understand?
what you're saying is muktzah is being subdivided over here. Muktzah is waived for one person, and it's that same item.
I'm
is
not
now-
saying that.
No,
I'm
that's what
not
I'm
saying
That's
that.
what
I'm asking a
understanding the
question. Yeah, I'm asking
I mean,
a
that's
question.
what I'm answering.
You're inferring from the question before we have the answer. So,
I'm saying there was a status change during Shabbat that was permissible.
so that's the question.
But
That's the
isn't it
question.
similar to the clothes that went into Shabbos and then it dried during Shabbos?
And what's the halacha?
So now, still it's not muktzah.
It so happens that you're right, but why?
You didn't do anything because dry clothes.
Are not muktzah. Wet clothes are. But why don't we apply the principle? Here's the principle. Principle is when something is set aside and made muktzah when Shabbos comes in, it remains muktzah the whole Shabbos. So why don't we say that? Shabbos came in, he didn't shecht it. Muktzah.
1 second before you.
But its status changed by
You have to have in mind that you're going to be shoched for them. They needed to be shoched.
Let's say you didn't have in mind. If you had in mind, then it's for sure not
But
muktzah.
Rebbe, this was
You
an
didn't have it in mind.
unanticipated
You didn't have it in
status
mind.
change.
Unanticipated.
The child Shabbos is in, and you see that the situation of the person become worse, and you need to be shocked.
I understand, but why is it not muktzah for everybody else?
Because it becomes something that is going to be edible.
Why don't you say migur de skatsoy ben hashmoshes skatsoy l'chol Shabbos kul? When Shabbos came in, it was muktzah. It should remain muktzah for the whole Shabbos.
But there was an unanticipated event.
So you're saying there's no such thing as migur de skatsoy?
No, I'm not saying there.
You are saying
this
that.
particular.
What do you mean? When something
I think the main exception.
Who said it's
And also,
exception for the guy, not for everybody else. Why should they make it non-muktzah? Why should they make it non-muktzah for everybody else?
Is that muktzah before Shabbat and end Shabbat? And the
But
Gemara? Who said it's muktzah?
But Rebbe, that
A live
meat-
animal is not muktzah?
that same piece of meat was already deemed to be non-muktzah because it was supposed to be that piece for the kola.
The piece
So now
is,
you're saying-
for argument's
but
sake,
that piece
I'm just
reverts
saying,
back
for
to being
argument's
muktzah.
sake,
Yeah.
don't infer from my argument. For argument's sake, it's muktzah, and the choila can eat it because he's sick.
That's make it not muktzah. He's allowed to eat it.
Right.
He's allowed to eat it because he's sick. Daniel, go ahead. Give us an answer here.
I'm sorry, what was the specific question again?
The specific question is, why is the animal that was shechted for the sick person not muktzah?
Well, I guess it was shechted beheter.
I know it's shechted better, but why don't you apply the rule?
Oh, why isn't it not muktzah for the sick person? Because
No, not for the sick person, for everybody else. When something is muktzah, when Shabbos comes in, why doesn't it stay muktzah the whole Shabbos?
Because I guess since it's not muktzah for one, it's not muktzah for everybody.
סכנת נפשות.
That's what everybody's trying to say here, but I'm not buying it.
Is it
I'm going
because?
to give you a different answer.
Give me one
Is
chance.
it because if someone were to ask me, Ben Hashmashis, in this scenario, given this scenario, would you do it? And I'd say yes. That then, for that purpose, it's not muktzah.
No, because you weren't expecting that scenario.
I wasn't expecting it, but I would not have put it aside in my mind had I known.
We don't apply the Hataras and Darim rules to here, because then the whole muktzah thing you could throw out the door. You could say, anytime I change my mind, you could say, well, if I had known that this and this would happen, then I wouldn't have considered a muktzah in the first place. You know what I'm saying? Every muktzah would be a
So give us that.
Something, I don't know, it was a
Eitan, go ahead.
Oh, I think I found the answer here.
Just 1 second, Eitan, go ahead.
Not to be a barter sheet, so people are allowed to eat this. This is a rich, yeah, they cannot throw away the food.
I mean, I hear what you're saying, that we don't want to waste it, but honestly, I don't know how many customers you're getting for raw meat anyway. You know what I'm saying? You'd have to work very hard to find enough people to eat raw meat that's going to save you from baltashkas.
Right, exactly.
Shin Yud Ches. It's the beginning of Shin Yud Ches. Daniel says he found it. Go ahead.
Yeah, it was one of the footnotes here, like 32. It says, in that source, the Alter Rebbe states that the animal's meat is not muktzah for the entire Shabbos because it was not the person's actions that caused the meat to be forbidden. Instead, the prohibition against eating the meat of the live animal is an intrinsic prohibition.
Which person, the cholet or the?
No, listen carefully. Listen carefully. We're learning muktzah next, so this was all just an excuse to get you into muktzah a little bit. So, I don't have it in front of me, but it's like ches or maybe zayin, ches. Okay, my friends, here it is. The concept of migudis katzoi b'bein hashmashas is katzoi l'chol Shabbos kula is when you actively set it aside as being muktzah. If you set it aside as being muktzah, then it remains muktzah the whole Shabbos, even if a status changes. You set it aside, but it's innately muktzah when Shabbos comes in. You didn't make it, but then the status could change on Shabbos. So for example, the animal, you didn't make it muktzah. It's an animal.
Row come.
Created. Yeah? You there? So when it gets shechted, its status can change.
It seems like he didn't have intention to shech the animal. It's not the same thing.
That's a problem. That's not a solution. Not having the intention is the problem. That's exactly the problem. Because you didn't have an intention, it should be muktzah. Because you didn't expect it to become food. You thought it was going to stay a live animal. That's the reason for it to be muktzah. But nevertheless, because you didn't make it muktzah, it's just born muktzah. It just exists as muktzah. So it can change. I'm looking for it now. I'll tell you in a second. Exactly. The tam is this bunch shin yud, but that's the tam. All right. Tell me a little bit about Bishlach or Bishal Balach, Rani.
Some holdings that is not bishul achar bishul. So you can be allowed to be, I think we learned some things that there is.
What's halacha?
יש מעט, אבל אין, מנהג העולם, הרבה עושים that holding that you're allowed to, אין בישול אחר בלח, בישול אחר בישול, so אין לגור בהם, יש להם על מה לסמוך.
לא, זו לא שמעתי.
בלח, בלח.
לא שמעתי. לא ספרדים ולא אשכנזים.
אולי תימנים יכול להיות.
תימנים, אנחנו לא גוררים על התימנים. אבל השיטה שלהם לא מובא בשולחן.
בלח זה חייב להיות.
יש בישול אחר בישול בלח.
כן, אבל לא שמעתי שאין לגור בהם. לא שמעתי. עד שאני אראה, אני לא מקבל.
David left.
I guess, I don't know.
I didn't even know he was leaving.
It should be in the computer.
No, it's David Walker, right?
He's walk 20 minutes.
I don't get it. I said I'd take him. You didn't even.
It's not easy.
He said I'd take him tomorrow.
No, his children is in a shul and he wants to get it before it like gets locked up.
Walk from here.
No, he did not walk.
He's
He
walking.
took a bus to North Miami Beach.
מה אפשר לעשות? Bishul achar bishul balach. So the halacha is that it's aser. Is there a difference between Sfardim and Ashkenazim?
Yes.
I see them
תימנים, זה תימנים, זה תימנים, זה תימנים.
אפשר לענות רבי?
אפשר לענות, בבקשה.
אשכנזים, אם זה לח, אם זה מספיק חם, אפשר להחזיר אותו לפלטה.
איזה מספיק חם? מה זה מספיק חם?
שהיד חם, הספרדים מחמירים יותר, שיהיה יד צולדת בו.
נכון.
ואשכנזים שזה חם למאכל, סליחה.
נכון. Thank you very much. תקשיב, רני, this is important.
I'll be honest with you.
Honesty is good.
No. My review, I didn't review Shinit Chet to Shinit Aleph.
I see, הבנתי.
So I'm just saying.
אוקיי, אני שומע.
Today I was accomplished until Shinit Zayin.
אוקיי.
Tomorrow I will not be.
אני שומע. The answer is that when it comes to Sfardim are stricter in this area.
Yes.
They say it has to actually be Yad Tzeleres boy to consider it Ein Bishul Achar Bishul. Normally Yesh Bishul Achar Bishul Balach. It's only if it's still Yad Tzeleres boy, so it's still hot, then Ein Bishul Achar Bishul. But Ashkenazim are more lenient. They say as long as it's still hot, even though it's not Yad Tzeleres.
Original heat.
Or hot from original heat, but doesn't have to be Yatzalettas, hot enough to eat, to feed guests, whatever. That's still in Bishul Achar Bishul. You could put it back on the fire. For example, Chazorah, the conditions of Chazorah, it doesn't have to be Yatzalettas, but it's enough for it to be hot. I understand that, but as far as Bishul Achar Bishul is concerned, Ashkenazim are lenient. They have a lesser temperature than Sfardim.
Is that a subjective hot? That's what I've always.
That hot does seem to be a subjective, because how do you know what the next door neighbors feed their guests with? It seems to be subjective. Yes.
Because it's exactly it. If you have guests, their subjective hot is different than your hot. So are you Bishul Achar Bishul someone who wouldn't consider it hot or would consider it too hot?
Right. Just got to trust the Balabayit and hope he knows what he's doing. So, but I will say this. Actually, I won't say it. I'll pose it to Yossi. Yossi, Ronnie mentioned that he does see that Sfardim are more makel with Bishul Achar Bishul Balach. So where does he get this from? Is there truth to his claim or not? And if yes, what is it?
I'm not 100% sure. Is that because Sephardim are more likely to engage in indirect bishul?
No, not indirect bishul.
Can I call my friend Teman?
You didn't say Teman, he says Sephardi.
No, but this halakha, yeah.
Is it Teman?
So on top of it, it's not different if it's Sephardim if it's on, say, an upturned pot or something?
I mean, there is another leniency as far as that's concerned, but that's not what I'm talking about over here.
Yeah.
What I'm talking about over here is the three definitions of lach.
Right. So there's lach, which is liquid. There's lach, which is something that is a congealed fat, which becomes a liquid. And then there's liquid, which is something that's not completely bone dry.
Okay, I mean, all of those are good. All of those are good. It's not the three I had in mind, but those are all true.
You're allowed to reboil it.
Ken, Rambam, Ken.
The money.
But that's the money. They follow Rambam. It's not a Sephardi.
Community, just the Rambam community.
That's what I'm saying, which is the money.
No.
We study all day.
כן דווקא. אין כזה ציבור שהולך עם הרמב"ם בפרט הזה. אולי יש בעוד פרטים רמב"ם ייתן. אני לא יודע.
אני יודע, בחולון, בכנסת, שהסיפור הכל זה הלך אופי רמב"ם.
איזה?
תימנים.
לא, זה לא תימנים רק שם, נו מה.
No, but what I'm saying is the money.
איפה?
בחולון.
The money are like a unique Sephardi.
אבל איזה סוג ספרדים הם?
איפה?
מאיפה? מאיזה מוצא?
לא יודע, שפעם הבאה אני...
You have to find out, because it's generally the Sephardim except the Machaber, Shitas and Machaber, who Paskins a lot like the Rambam, but not everything. Okay, so Yossi says a few definitions of lach. One is completely liquid. These are not my definitions that I was looking for, but they're interesting, so we'll touch upon them a little bit. One is completely liquid. One is congealed liquid. And one is something that's a little bit liquid, but a lot solid. So let's talk about that a little bit. Go ahead, Yossi. Tell us about them.
I think the way the Alter Rebbe prefers in Paskins is that we consider something wet, even if if it would leave like a sticky residue or a residue on a plate or your fingers.
Exactly.
That is among the more stricter of the opinions.
What do the other opinions hold?
That, for example, so there's an additional issue with congealed fat, and that is if you want the fat itself, then melting it can actually be a problem. But that's not to do with bishul. That's to do with extracting the liquid from the solid.
Well, it's related to that. Exactly. Over here, it's a solid itself turning into a liquid, but it's related to that it's similar to that.
Yep. And the other one would be, say, soup, for example.
Okay, so the Alter Rebbe defines it as it has to be bone dry. And this is what I was looking for in terms of this Sephardim. The Minchas Kohen defines it as a majority dry, for it to be dry. And if it's a minority liquid, he considers it dry. And many Sephardim, Yaakov Yosef, for example, among them, follow that definition. So that's what you mean. You might see that they take something with rotev, with liquid, but it's majority solid, fish, chicken, whatever.
Cholent.
I'm not even talking about the fact that it's congealed, which is what Yossi was bringing up now. That's another discussion. It's not congealed, it's liquid, but it's a majority solid as opposed to soup, which is majority liquid. They consider that solid. No, that's the whole point. You don't need a liquid, solid, makes no difference. Yatzaledesbei could be 100% liquid and it's still okay.
Yes, some
it's still hot.
Some Ashkenaz machmerim about that sauce and the chicken.
Yeah, absolutely.
That sauce in the what?
The Mishnah Berurah is strict.
What is it? The sauce in the what?
The sauce and the liquid. Mishnah Berurah says.
Depending on
Mishnah Berurah says it has to be 100% dry, but Rabbi Ribbi at least claims
That's about meatballs.
that it could have a little bit. It's not the end of the world. But the al derbis is completely dry.
How about with tigum, with frying? Was there two different standards? If something is deep fried or pan fried, we pass in more like a solid.
You're getting the
Afia, not even.
mentioning frying, and I thought you were going to ask a difficult question. As far as liquid and solid, it makes no difference if it's baked, fried, pan fried. It makes no difference. If it's liquid, it's liquid. If it's solid, it's solid, based on the definitions that we're giving. 100%, majority, a little bit, whatever. It doesn't. Pan fried doesn't make a difference. I thought you were going to get into afia and bishul.
No.
Afia.
Because it talks about the two different types of deep frying.
That's for the purpose of afia. That's not for the purpose of liquid. That discussion is for the purpose of afia, because sometimes we say yesh ein bishul achar bishul, but yesh bishul achar afia. So there's a question about frying, if that's afia or if that's bishul. Machlokes about it. So that's, I think, what you were referring to.
Didn't mean to scare you. Sorry.
It's okay. I'll just pass it on to Daniel. He'll take care of us. Daniel, tell us a little bit about bishul achar afia, or afia after bishul.
I don't remember that. I think if it's the same thing, it's okay. But if we do something else like afia after afia, or that would be okay. But to do the other thing, it's not okay.
Exactly. That's how we pass. It's actually a machlokes, but that's how we pass, and that's correct.
Sephardim, it's okay. You can take the challah and put it on the top of the block.
Well, that's actually afia and afia. That's no problem anyway.
Yeah.
That's afia and afia.
You would take the challah and put it in
If
liquid.
the definition of afia is heat without liquid. The definition of bishul is heating in liquid.
And afia is the same as roasting for our purposes.
Yeah. Anything without liquid is afia.
Dry.
Correct.
And I thought it also this afia is a machlokes. Some holding that there is bishul achar afia.
Yeah, that's what he said.
And some say there is not.
Correct. It is a machlokes. It is a machlokes. It is a machlokes.
I remembered the rule, but I can't think of an example now of afia achar afia. What would be an example of that?
Well, Michal just gave an example. You take a challah,
Yeah.
it's already been heated, obviously, it's already been baked. You put it on top of the pot to heat up again. That's afia, because you're not putting it in liquid. Afia achar afia.
But this.
Okay, so that's why we have to be careful to put our challahs on the blech before Shabbos and not after Shabbos starts.
No, directly on the blech is a separate issue. Maybe that's considered putting it in a place that's normal to cook. But on top of it, you can do on Shabbos itself, because ein afia.
Right.
Yeah, there is no prohibition to rebake something once it's been baked.
So
another.
Heating it without liquid is just considered more afia.
So afia, afia achar afia would be like putting it back in the oven or something, or.
Well, yeah, but that's
what's the
because of the chazorah issues. We can't put it there because it's chazorah issues. Afia achar is on top of a pot.
On top of a pot.
You're allowed to put it on top of a pot, on top of a urn, on top of a crock pot. All of that is afia achar afia, because you're reheating it without water. So that's considered afia, and it's mutter.
Well, but then what would be aser? I thought of afia achar. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, that's the same thing. The same thing is okay.
Afia achar bishul is a problem. Lots of balls.
Right. Okay.
Putting croutons into soup.
Exactly.
If you made the croutons in the oven.
Baked croutons into a soup, or matzah balls. Even if you dry them off somehow, if they were bishul, you can heat them up without liquid. Yes. Sorry. Okay. All right, we're getting stuck on bishul here. We could be here all night.
Whatever you want, we're here.
Rabbi Boss is not going to get us, I mean, he's going to ask Bishul, but he's not going to stay.
So let's jump to something else.
Yes.
I mean, I don't know, is there any big highlight in Bishul you still want to talk about?
Highlight in Bishul. Tell me about salt.
Salt.
Yeah.
Actually, we're not on Bishul. We're talking about Ein Bishul.
It's me. So, okay, salt.
Salt, yes.
Okay, salt is called also bishul. So, you cannot put on the first, if you have a pot on the fire, you cannot put salt.
On the fire, you can't put anything, but go ahead. What about off the fire?
What's the question? What do you want to know about the salt?
I want to know if you're allowed to put salt in a pot that's off the fire.
Of the fire.
Yeah.
If on your plate, you're allowed to do,
A pot off the fire.
but if you have little bit salt before, yes. And if you, no, right? If you have from yesterday when you did the food and if you put salt before, we learned that. If you have salt before, no. So
Isn't salt considered?
Salt in a way,
It's like a food.
you shouldn't put in any clearishon off the fire or on the fire. You should put salt in clearishon. And then there is machloket if it's cooked salt or not cooked salt. So not cooked salt can be like
Like an ox meat.
like an ox meat. So you could put it because you're not going to get hit by the clearishon when it's much stronger heat. But some saying is that even in cliche, you have to put salt.
let me correct myself.
Some of the things you said are true.
Pickle salt.
So this is
Pickle salt.
It depends what kind of salt, because you can add spice.
You water with the salt. You cannot put the pickle inside. You right? That's what
You asked the general question about salt. So
I'm always
All right, my friend.
Salt you can put into a clear rishon off the fire, but it's best practice not to.
One second. I'm hearing something from Yossi. Go ahead.
Salt you can put into a clear rishon off the fire, but it's better practice not to.
Thank you very much. That is the correct answer. The Iker Hadin, you could put salt into a pot that is off the fire because salt needs so much cooking like the meat of an ox. Now, there is a strict opinion, and a person who wants a bracha from the Tosfos, Ramon, Alpha Rebbe, Mishnah Berurah, I'm sure Rabbi Fosner will add his bracha too. That he doesn't, even the klisheni.
Only on the plate.
But Nikar you can do in a Rishon.
What does it look like?
Because you said that it makes a difference. It was cooked salt before, not cooked salt.
Salt was always considered.
Kli Rishon, off the fire, you can put any salt.
Yeah,
Me'ikar hadin. It can be machmer, b'vakasha, but me'ikar hadin is mutter.
Why do you consider
Even
Even
uncooked
cooked,
salt.
even-
Uncooked salt.
I can put a bit more later.
No,
It takes longer to get cooked, like in the ox meat.
no, that's incorrect.
Wala machmir, tabo ala bracha.
Uncooked salt is going to be more machmer because when you cook uncooked salt, you're cooking. When you cook cooked salt, it's already been cooked.
It's like compared to the ox meat.
That's correct. That's uncooked salt. It's already been cooked. It's already been cooked. B'vakasha. That's the problem.
The creation of the fire doesn't have the stone to cook.
So I'm really confused. What's this about cooked and uncooked salt?
uncooked salt?
Uncooked salt, that's correct.
Correct.
Uncooked salt, that's
So-
correct.
So you're allowed to put it in.
Uncooked salt. How much more so cooked salt? Cooked salt, there's no bishul.
What is cooked salt?
Cooked salt, I think what Ronnie is referring to is table salt, that it was heated up in the process of making it heated up.
It's not just like grab it from the ocean. Well, that would be uncooked salt.
Yeah, I don't know if you could do that. I don't know.
I was gonna say, you're like
Sounds-
Yamamel left.
sounds a bit dangerous. But if you would, then yes, that would be uncooked salt. Okay, now what Yoram was saying, he had something right there. I don't want to take away the credit. He had
Well,
something
take-
right. No. He said something about something having a little bit of salt in it. If it had a little bit of salt in it. Yeah, give me more.
I'm just reviewing.
But it's like you're metaking machal, like to make it more tasty.
No. So therefore, what?
Spice,
Yossi, can you help us out here?
Are we moving on to pickling now?
No, not at all. We're still stuck on salt in a kli rishon. But Yoram said that there was a difference between if it had some salt in it before or not, and we want to save him from his imperfect answer, and we want to perfect it. What is it that he's referring to?
I don't recall. I'm really sorry.
Daniel, you remember?
If there is already salt in the stuff, I still don't think you can put salt into it.
You are correct. But there is nevertheless a difference. Yeah.
It's like a bittul. Then it gets absorbed into the larger mixture, and so it counts as part of the food.
And
then it doesn't have the status of uncooked salt, so it's ready.
It's almost.
It's mabatel.
You guys are like grabbing little thoughts. Okay, here's the idea. If you added salt, chas v'shalom, monolitzlan, on Shabbos to a pot on the fire, chas v'shalom, if a person did that, over on an isur d'oraisa, because they cooked the salt.
Right.
If that pot already had salt in it, you can eat the food. Why? Because the benefit of having that salt is not a noticeable benefit, because it's zev goyim. It's only you're only tasting the taste of the salt together with the salt that you had before, and that is a permissible salt. So zev goyim is mutter.
This will help you tomorrow in a test.
Maybe. You can't do it. Can't put it in. But if you did it, it's mutter. No, even b'mezid. Very important. Even b'mezid. Because it's bottled. It's nullified. Now, normally, something is not nullified if you can taste it. But over here, the taste of the salt is together with the salt that it had before. So it's called zev goyim. You have two things causing it, a permissible thing, a forbidden thing. So then it's permissible.
Probably on the same concept like in the salmonella, in the kevas that you're making holding the cheese as like special things that
rennet,
correct.
Rennet?
The rennet and the
so because you have to add, so it's equal by itself.
Exactly.
Not do it.
Exactly. If you're using a permissible maimed and a forbidden maimed, correct. Same thing.
The same concept.
Same concept. Yeah.
It's by adding the salt and make the taste not good.
Not good? I don't know. Yeah, that's not really a benefit. Yeah, if it ruined it, I don't think it would be us because you're not benefiting from it. I don't think so. Question? I understand. He's not allowed to do it. He's talking about b'diavad. If he did it already, it's bottled. It's nullified. Because it's nullified, 1 in 60. You taste it, yeah, but that taste is not only noticeable together with the permissible salt. So it's zev goyim. When you can taste something, but you can only taste it also because of a permissible thing. So it's two things causing a third result: permissible and forbidden. It's causing something together that we allow. So zev goyim. Okay, so now we have to go back to what Ronnie was saying before about uncooked versus cooked salt. All right, Yoram, tell us. Or did I ask Daniel? I don't know if I did.
No, it's my turn.
I don't know. Daniel, what's the rule? Uncooked salt.
I think uncooked salt you can't cook, but if it's already cooked, it's okay to add to something hot. But if it's
So that is what the Alter Rebbe paskins in the Shulchan Aruch. Like cooked salt, you can add no matter what because it's already cooked. However, in the Siddur, he changes his mind. Actually, even in the Shulchan Aruch, he says Samar Machmer. Samar Machmer. אתה זוכר? Why are some machmer and say, question for Yaram, why are some machmer and say that you cannot reheat cooked salt? Abaya, ein bishlach abishal. Aber ein bishlach abishal.
Well, it's probably because you might come to uncooked salt.
Why don't we say that about every ein bishlach abishal?
Yeah, but you can't tell the difference. I mean, it's probably so similar. You may come to cook uncooked salt by mistake.
No, not Makamo. Not Makamo. The answer is, Rabbi Sai, pay attention. The question is, why are we machmir? Alter Rebbe in the Siddur, in the Shulchan Aruch, especially in the Siddur, says you should be machmir and not reheat cooked salt, even if it's cooked already. And we should really say, "Ein bishul achar bishul." Be machmir. Don't reheat it. Lama.
A salt like compared to tavlinim harifim?
No. Salt is not compared to tavlinim harifim. I'll get back to that in a minute, but let me just find out the answer to this question. It's another point. The answer is, my friends, listen carefully. Yavesh shenasalach. That's the answer. Yavesh shenasalach.
Yes.
Exactly. If it's a solid that's going to become a liquid, the rule is ein b'shalach b'shal b'yavish. Yesh b'shalach b'shal b'lach. A solid food that's been cooked, you can reheat. A liquid food that's been cooked, you cannot reheat. What if it's now solid, but it's gonna liquefy? It's gonna dissolve and become liquid. So the main halacha in the Shulchan Aruch is it's like a solid. Ein b'shalach b'shal, no problem. In the Siddur, however, and even the Shulchan Aruch, he brings down a Yesh Ayrim, Alter Rebbe is strict, and he says that a solid that's going to become a liquid, you should consider it. Absolutely, of course.
I know it gets absorbed, but I didn't.
No. If you put salt in a boiling pot of water, it will dissolve.
That's solid.
Even less, but it dissolves easier in hot water. But it dissolves even less. Yeah.
Okay, so it's like.
So are you saying it's returning to its original state before it was cooked? In other words, before it was cooked, it was a liquid.
Exactly.
We cooked it at salt, but now it's returning.
It's going to become a liquid, and then it's going to cook.
So
It's going to become a liquid on contact immediately, and then it's going to reheat as a liquid.
So Alter Rebbe in the sugar too?
Yeah, correct. Absolutely. According to Alter Rebbe, you cannot add sugar to a kli rishon.
Even though we don't consider sugar something cooked.
Why not? Absolute sugar for sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
It's melted.
They cook the sugar beets to make sugar.
No,
They cook the sugar
Right, we were
beets.
talking about sugar.
They crystallize it.
Like salt.
Yeah, that's something else.
That was something else. Yeah.
They cook it, they crystallize it, and they make sugar. No question about it.
So then why does it only mention salt?
That's just an example. But in fact,
Because all I think of is salt and oxygen.
no, that's something else. That's about the fact that Me'ikar Din, you could put it even in a kli rishon. I'm talking if you want to be machmer, so you don't do it in a kli rishon, you don't do it in a kli sheni, and you don't do it even if it's been cooked before already, because it's going to liquefy. All right.
So
This is more.
You cannot add salt to your food.
I was just thinking.
If you want to be yotze every shita,
I don't use salt, so I'm in general.
if you want to be yotze every shita, you want to add salt to your food, as long as it's
you know what?
yatz boy.
But I think
If you want to literally fulfill every single opinion in the book.
Rebbe, but sugar is a more practical example because coffee, even
There's a difference between salt and sugar, and this is going to relate to the question I'm about to ask you. What is the difference between salt and other spices?
salt. Yeah, it's considered a food. It's not considered a spice.
Okay, so tell me the difference, halachically.
spices, you don't have the same sensitivity in terms of the clear rishon.
Tell me details. Sensitivity is like, halacha. Tell me halacha. Kli rishon, kli sheni.
It's not created the same way as salt.
Yeah, but that's.
I mean, everything has its own way of being created.
We're only the spicy musif.
You can put it
Musif like a hat or musif something. We study about that.
Ronnie says tavlin, you can put it in a kli sheni. That is correct. You can put tavlin in a kli sheni. What about salt?
Salt is not considered as tavlin.
And therefore what?
Remove it also. Therefore, you cannot put it in kli sheni.
You can't? Sure.
This is what you just said before.
Well, that was what we were.
You can't or you shouldn't?
You shouldn't. You cannot.
Can't and cannot is the same. Okay, salt is not like a tavlin. Tavlin, you can put in a kli sheni. Salt is different. And some say you cannot put it in a kli sheni. And some say you can even put it in a kli rishon, which you cannot do for tavlin. Some say you may not put it in a kli sheni, and how much more so you can't put it in a kli rishon? You gotta be kidding.
You just said some.
Some say you are allowed to put it even in a kli rishon. And that's the main halacha.
Salt, you're
Salt.
saying?
Yeah.
Really? Yeah, but that was the case where there was salt in it already.
No, that was salt in it already was for putting in the kli rishon on the fire.
Oh, I see, but off the fire.
To make it mutter b'diavad. I'm talking about off the fire. And we're saying that some say it's mutter, and that's the main halacha. Some say it's aser, even in a kli sheni, and that's a hiddur. No. We're going to the Alter Rebbe who says that a machmir is tavoi olav bracha. Huh?
The same thing for us.
Is it?
No.
Yeah.
Okay. And the bracha, look, bakasha.
Would sweet and low or those sweeteners be considered a tavlin?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So it's the same exact thing. So sugar is like salt.
Yeah, the definition of a tavlin, according to Farkash, is something that you don't care to eat the thing itself. All you want is the flavor of it. Like if I could get the flavor of sugar without eating sugar, that's exactly what sweet and low is, or tries to be. I'm saying I just want the flavor. I don't care. It's not an ingredient that I really want. You understand? I want its flavor.
More question. We got 1 hour.
Actually, like they put like it's just the way you want to eat it. You want the flavor.
Kind of, yeah.
1 hour.
Kind of.
We got 1 hour.
Okay. Ronnie, tell me about shaking dust off of a garment.
So actually, Rashi was machmir about it. Actually, shaking something from the garment. Rashi also, besides the towel, Rashi is holding the dust also is also
Yeah.
shake it.
Yeah.
He's more strict about the dust.
Yep.
And I think the opinion about notza is micro because it's not like attached to the garment, but shaking the dust of the garment will be also according to Rashi.
Is it ever mutter? Is there some way that it could be mutter?
Dust or
Dust.
according to Rashi, if I think if it's not makbid on it.
That's one example. Give me another example.
Also, if it's not, I think the whole thing was like there should be chadash and black.
Right.
Chadash and black, correct.
So if it doesn't have this name, so
That's correct. Emet. Okay.
Yes.
Yossi, tell me about scrubbing off something that fell on my jacket. Got a bit of cholent on my jacket. Tell me the rules about taking it off.
You can take the piece of cholent off. That's not a problem.
Yeah.
You might then be left with some residue on your jacket.
Okay.
You can wait until it dries and peel it off.
Okay.
You cannot wash it off with water. That's definitely out.
Correct.
Or even a wet wipe. You can scratch it off from underneath, but not on top.
Correct. Correct. There's one caveat that I will add to that, which Rabbi Vosner might very well ask about, and that is that according to the Mishnah Berurah, the idea of peeling it off when it's dry will only be mutter if it's not black and new and it bothers you. You add those conditions to this case. But other than that, you pretty much got it right. Very good. So Daniel,
if it's black and new, you're not allowed to peel.
According to the Mishnah Berurah, the Alter Rebbe doesn't say that.
Remove the top one, but the
You have to leave a stain. Correct. Correct. But the Alter Rebbe doesn't say it, and it says the Shulchan says that the Alter Rebbe disagrees with
And
that.
the halacha?
It depends who you are. It depends if you're Chabad or not. I had an interesting shaila today, by the way. Interesting shaila. Because the dinim of Yom Tov Sheni for Chabad are simpler than for non-Chabad. If you go to Eretz Yisrael for Yom Tov, if you're Chabad, if you're with your wife, with your spouse,
You establish residency.
so that's it. You're good. You could eat one day of Yom Tov. I mean, if that's good. Maybe some people prefer 2 days Yom Tov.
Some people say it's a machloket about it.
That what?
That even so, it's like if you travel with, you should celebrate both days.
It is machlekes, but in Chabad generally they say if you're with your wife, you keep 1 day.
By the way,
Not.
he thinks I read from Rabbi Shapiro.
Yeah.
He thinks that Alter Rebbe wants to accomplish, but he was afraid that people are not going to accept it. Was second day Galileo Beretz Israel.
Yeah.
God Panim B'Kol Yom, and to put Shira Shirim into the city.
Yeah.
So,
Say that he wanted to, but he didn't.
Interestingly, it's not unanimous. Yossi Brown and Michal Garari both paskin for my sisters that they should keep 2 days, I think, when they went to seminary.
No, seminary is different because they're single people.
But that's strange because a lot of most Chabad single girls only keep 1 day in Eretz Yisrael.
Okay, but that's something else. That I'm not discussing because that's machlokes within Chabad. But I'm talking about with the married couple. So anyway, this family called me, and they wanted to psak. They're going for Sukkot, so they want to psak about Yom Tov Sheni. So I could tell they wanted me to say Chabad, 1 day. But on the other hand, they're like half Chabad, you know what I'm saying? They do some things Chabad, some things not Chabad. It depends on the husband and the wife and the kids, different levels. So they basically wanted to know how Chabad do you have to be to get this heter of 1 day Yom Tov?
Well, as long as you don't wear tefillin on second day Yom Tov.
So
You have to drink the Kool-Aid.
it
It's
was
as simple as that.
Shaila. I called Rabbi Heller from New York, and he basically said that unless they're fully Chabad, they should follow the majority of Klal Yisrael and keep 2 days. So,
To their chagrin.
I'm sorry?
To their chagrin.
Well, I think they got over it.
Rabbi, you're going
Yes.
to not Yerushalayim, to Tel Aviv,
Yes.
and you're going you're doing 1 day. The second day you're going there, you by yourself in a synagogue.
Yes.
So you're doing everything by yourself.
You don't have to go to Tel Aviv. You can go to Yerushalayim. You'll have a lot
You
of
have nothing
minyanim.
to do with Yerushalayim.
Why not? Go for Yom Tov to Yerushalayim. Aliyah L'Regal. Yeah.
For me, I cannot drive in Rabbi. So Mala days,
In Yerushalayim, there are a lot of minyanim. For Chabad also. Anyway, whatever. Bon namshich.
I was there. As was Yossi Mills. But
Yeah.
and when we're trying to hook up, he goes, "Oh well, we only did 1 day."
In Eretz Yisrael, actually, by the way, there are Rabbanim who paskin 1 day, not Chabad also. But it has
It's
to do
very
with
common to paskin 1 day.
in Eretz Yisrael. In Eretz Yisrael. The Rabbanim in Eretz Yisrael lean more towards 1 day, and in Chutz La'aretz they lean towards 2 days. It's an interesting thing.
Well, they're all looking for the constituencies.
Listen, if you come back, the compliment is what the second day.
Yeah, if you're with your wife, same thing. It goes both ways.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it goes both ways.
Oh, so you
Both
can't,
ways.
you're here just on vacation, you gotta do both days? If you're a Chabad, you're from Far Chabad.
Pretty sure. Pretty
And if
sure.
you're not
Wow.
Chabad, 1 day.
Pretty sure. Pretty sure.
And if you're not Chabad, 1 day.
If you're planning to go back 1 day.
Yeah, wow.
But you still can't do malacha because you have to respect the place. But you daven like a
Alright, so-
weekday. Daven like a weekday, you don't have to have the meals, but you can't do
the rest
malacha.
have to be keeping, and the tzina you can do.
You can't do malacha. You can't do malacha. But you
Beparesa.
no,
You can do it in
b'chlal.
one house.
No, you can't do malacha.
Why? You cannot cook. You
Can't
don't
cook.
keep in the second day.
And
Yeah,
Yom
my father came here a
Yep.
couple of years ago for Sukkot by himself, and he only kept 1 day. It was very odd because he was by himself.
right. Yeah.
Daniel question.
Okay. The other question now. Other question. Daniel, tell me about binyan bekalim. What are the rules about kalim in terms of what possible prohibition can there be if I fix a broken item, broken chair, broken cupboard? Tell me about those rules.
Yeah. Well, it's not quite makaba patish, but it's I guess binyanach or binyan. Because I was thinking about this the other day when I was reviewing, but it's nevertheless, since you are essentially fixing something, it's kind of like almost like taking glasses and fixing them. That would be usher.
What's the prohibition?
That's
a good example. Glasses.
Yeah.
Arm of my glasses came off. I got these little screws here. I took a little screwdriver and I screwed it back together. What did I do wrong?
And I give you the screwdriver.
Yeah. Well, I guess it's like you're taking something which is now muksa and trying to change its state rather than...
Muksa is a separate issue. You are right that an arm of glasses would be muksa because you have no use for it. But is there any Torah?
Yeah. I think it's a derabanan. It's not d'oraisa, it's a derabanan.
Tikkun kli. Ronnie says it's tikkun kli.
Tikkun kli.
Tikkun kli means like makabah patish.
Yeah, but makabah patish is d'oraisa, but in this case, fixing the glasses, wouldn't that be derabanan?
Why? What's the difference?
Because it's something which is already a finished product. It's just kind of something.
No, that's not correct. If something breaks and you fix it, that could be tikkun kli, even though it used to be a finished product. But if it's now become unfinished, you can do tikkun kli 100 times on the same kli. As many times as it breaks and you fix it, you can do tikkun kli.
Yeah, I don't know. Can't remember.
Now you do. Tikkun kli you can do even 100 times.
But is that d'oraisa?
That is deraisa. Tikkun kli is a tulda of makabah patish.
Aha, okay.
Now it could be that there's also binyan bekalim. That's a machlokes, because some Rishonim say that when you do binyan bekalim, and it's something that is difficult to do, that takes special tools and special strength, that it could also be binyan bekalim. But tikkun kli is for sure.
But in general, it's a lot of iron to protect the roof, and women is still in killing in general, or it's not exactly.
There's a rule in the Gemara that says ein binyan bekalim and ein stir bekalim. But there's a machlokes Rishonim if it applies to binyan gomer, when you're doing something that takes strength. So some Rishonim say that then there's binyan, and some say not. And the main halacha pathing is that there is, but the Yevid can rely on the other opinions. If it's Ragoy, you can rely on the other opinions.
What's binyan or binyan? What would be an example of that?
I don't know if there is an expression like this. I think I don't think it's one. Yesh binyan achar binyan. Let's put it that way. Even though something has been built once, you can build it again. If it breaks, you can build it again. You can 100 times.
But that's tikkun kli, isn't it?
Yeah, that is technically. But if you hold a binyan b'kelim, which is a machlokes with shonim, if you hold a binyan b'kelim, like when you do a difficult type of binyan, something that needs special tools and special strength, like a hammer or a special screwdriver. So if you hold of that, then you could do binyan also 100 times. So the Maisa, there is binyan b'kelim. All right, Yoram, tell me about opening a bottle on Shabbos like this. Allowed or not allowed?
The last time we saw, I said yes, but it's not true because if you open it, it's considered to open the top.
So it's not allowed? So, shoot.
I know that if it is sealed, you don't allow it because then you tear the
I mean, it's a nice chumrah. It's a nice chumrah.
So
but most,
it is machloket.
It is a machlekes. But Rosh Shlomo Zalman allows it. Plastic.
Only plastic like this one here.
Yeah, not metal. What about a tuna can?
Tuna can, you don't allow it because it's a tearing. Unless we learned about a while ago, if you have something with open like that without, you know, like, yeah, we learned that.
What did we learn?
Yes, this one you may able, but you don't. It's better to be strict than not to open it.
Different opinion about cans on Shabbos.
Different opinions about cans on Shabbos. Machloket.
And what halacha, Rabbi?
Depends who you ask. Depends who you ask. So Lamaisa, opening a tuna can, according to the Moshe Feinstein, is mutter me'ikar hadin.
I know he is
Me'ikar hadin, but he doesn't want to allow it because people could take the heter improperly. But me'ikar hadin is mutter. But other achronim hold that it's asur, and it could be even an issa deraisa. Yeah, chol liot. Oh, sheila shel stira b'kelim, either a sheila of stira b'kelim, or maybe a sheila of tikkun kli.
Tikkun kli? Because you make it clear over there.
Exactly. You open it up, make it a keli.
Also, if the one with the hand, like it's already open. And
I don't know if we had a.
What was the first one?
It could be it's stira because you're breaking it when you break it open. Could be it's tikkun that you're making a keli. Maybe when it's.
Does that mean that there are some opinions that say there is absolutely no way at all whatsoever of ever getting tuna out of a can on Shabbos?
Yeah, there are some opinions that say that. Correct. There are some opinions that say that because they say opening it is going to destroy the keli.
Can we come here at 4 o'clock tomorrow?
You can come
whenever you want.
No.
All of you.
No. Anybody want to come early tomorrow? Or the test is 6:30, Rabbi, tomorrow?
6:30, but that's
6:30. So anybody want to come early to study? Wait, right.
How long will the test be? An hour, hour and a half?
Yes, we'll see. Okay, so you'll see when we.
I mean, Moshe was lenient about opening cans in general. Specifically about the ones that have that ring and let you pull it off easily. Maybe, I don't know. Could be.
But I thought the whole idea was we're going to throw out the can anyways after we open it. So there's no. I thought that was.
That's what Moshe's heter. That anything you're going to throw out becomes like the peel of it, like the shell of it.
But you have to make sure.
But other achronim don't agree with that. It's a chiddush that not everybody agrees with. If you don't agree with that chiddush, then it could be it's also to open a tuna can. Although the Chazon Ish, we said, has a novel heter, which is if you open it in a way that ruins it. You open it when you make a jagged edge when you open it. So then you open both sides, whatever.
Right.
So then maybe it's allowed.
That's what I really have to.
But if you already choose to open it, according to one opinion, the second close it, you better empty the whole can and throw it.
Correct.
Just use half of it to leave.
And you can't strain either.
It's kind of like the case where if you want to open up like a Kedem grape juice thing, which has the sealed cap, if you puncture the cap, then you're ruining the cap, so you can open it. I guess that would be like the chazanish.
Right.
No, you can't.
Some say that.
Spill,
Some say that,
careful.
yeah.
That could be an issue of a bore issue.
Leaving the liquid.
The liquid is a bore issue to take it out of the can. So you can't use the can and strain it.
What's the borer issue?
The liquid is what you don't want.
To strain the liquid out of the solid.
The solid.
But that's only if you want the liquid. If you don't want the liquid, then that's not a problem. You can pour it straight down the sink.
No, you don't want the liquid. That would be taking the bad out.
Right.
No, because according to the both, that's not a problem according to the Alter Rebbe, and it's also not. So you've got the Alter Rebbe and the Taz here, right? And it's not a problem if the liquid goes straight down the sink. It's like squeezing out a pickle, for example. I could take tuna in my hand and squeeze out the stuff I don't want and put it onto a plate. It goes straight down the sink.
Yossi is mentioning that according to the Alter Rebbe, when you pour out something from something else and you keep what you want, so that's considered a permissible kind of boyer. It's considered boyer oichel mitach pseilas.
No, I understand, but if you're taking out, you can't specifically strain.
Are you saying by holding down the metal, it's
holding down the
like
metal.
using a keli, you're saying?
Correct.
I hear that, because the metal has like
metal
a
has
small
that.
opening, so it's like the perfect opening. That's an argument. You hear, Yossi?
I do, but it's not. Is that straining good enough? Because you're going to lose bits of tuna down the sink. So is it no different to well, it's only slightly different to getting rid of a fly. Or are we saying that we're not doing it with a keli? No, even so, we're allowed to.
That's his question. Are you allowed to do it? He's suggesting that you shouldn't be allowed to do it using the top.
According to the Taz, you'd be allowed to use a spoon to take out a fly.
That's just because you don't want to get your hands dirty. Oh, no. Sorry. So why is that not boyer? That's not boyer because you're taking it out together with some of the soup.
So what I'm saying is you're going to lose a little bit of, you're going to have a couple of pieces of corn or tuna or whatever come down.
But also, if
is it a normal way to do it anyway? Is as a keli? Is a can a regular strainer?
It doesn't have to be a regular strainer. As long as it's a keli that's helping you strain in a way that is better than by hand, even if it's not the regular strainer. Regular strainer
it's not better than hand. By hand would be much better. You just don't want to get dirty. You can put your hand there just as easily.
Well, that's the shayla. I honestly don't know. If it helps you strain better than your hand, then you have a point. If your hand does the job and you're just using the jar not to get your hand dirty, then it's not considered a keli.
But squeezing it out is not a problem.
Because
you don't want the liquid. It's like a pickle with excess liquid.
Right. Well, the pickle with excess liquid is the issue that it's not considered.
I could squeeze it out.
That's not about boyer. That's not about boyer. That's about shehiyah. That's about dash.
Yeah.
That's not considered shehiyah because when you squeeze out something you don't want and it goes down the drain, that's nothing. It's not important.
Yeah.
But the point is that here it's boyer. It's a boyer issue because it's not what's absorbed in the tuna. It's what's mixed in with the tuna. And you're doing boyer to get rid of what you don't want. And that being said, Alter Rebbe does say in the Siddur that when you pour out the fly with using the cup, so that's called boyer oichel b'tach pseilas, because you're using the oichel to get rid of the pseilas. So I think it would be the same thing. You're tipping it out.
Yeah.
You're tipping it out. You're holding onto the can, The oichel is staying in your hand, and you're tipping it out with the oichel. I think according to Alder would be allowed. Maybe not with the jar itself. I'm not sure about that. But in terms of the act of boyer using the oichel, I think that would be allowed. Maybe only dafka by hand. I'm not sure.
Oh, one real question that comes up that I was just thinking about this last Shabbos is if I wear a glove,
Yep.
that's not considered a keli, is it? Because that is purely to protect my hand.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, in terms of keli and boyer or whatever. All right, everybody said there's so much more to learn, but you don't need me to learn it. You can learn it on your own. Been a pleasure, everybody. Hope to see you all here 6:30.
And בהצלחה to everybody.
As far as more of you never know. Rabbi Wosner might not answer the phone at 6:30.
How are we going to do it tomorrow? Will it be Google Hangouts or on the phone?
1 second. I'm sorry, what?
Are we going to be doing it online or on the phone?
I hope it's going to be online, but because it's much easier to understand if you can at least see him.
We didn't see him the last time he was on one side, the bottom half of his view.
No, that was twice ago.
Well, when it was just his hat.
Yeah. But I hope it'll be online. I'm going to do my best.
How long will it be for? An hour or hour and a half?
How many are actually taking the test? No, 1 or 2 or 3.
I am.
I will.
You 2, that's not 5. David Leib is not 6.
Is Joseph in Israel?
Joseph is in Israel?
I don't know. Remember he said he might call in, or I don't know when.
Oh, Joseph's in Israel. Right. Joseph's in
He
Israel.
might call in.
So that would be at 7. Far left already. He took it last night.
He is asked. I spoke with him
So
on
that's probably
Sunday.
about what we had last time.
It's like 7. I think it's going to be like an hour and a half. That's my guess.
Okay.
My guess.
Can I go second?
You're second around the table.
Okay. It's just I've had second kabua so far.
Okay. Have a good night, everybody.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
The test is $100. $100, guys, for the test fee.
Okay. So we'll send that check to you.
Rabbi Wosner or to me, and I'll pass it on. Either way.
Okay.
I've already paid you. Is that right?
I believe you did, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I'll just send you a check through Bill Pay, so you'll just get a check in about a week or something like
Okay,
that.
if you want to do it that way, you could, or I could give you his address. You could send it directly, whatever you prefer.
Oh. Okay. Yeah. Why don't you just text me his address and I'll do that.
You're gonna come
Very
also.
good.
Just do it.
Very good. All the best.
Bye.
Okay.
Don't